Not much to look at, is it? This scrawny little plant is a 1-year-old radiata pine seedling. But when you look after it and plant it in a properly prepared spot, look what you get in 35 years' time. But why do we need to raise orchards of fast-growing softwoods? And what's so special about radiata pine? This is a eucalypt regrowth forest. The original virgin forest was cut down 20 years ago to provide saw logs for timber. It takes time to grow another eucalypt forest big enough to provide saw logs once again. So what do we do in the meantime for plywood, for scantling and for boards? Newsprint and paper are made from wood. The wood is broken down into its fibres and the fibres are realigned to make a web of paper. Eucalypt fibres are short. These must be mixed with the long fibres from softwoods to give paper its strength. So where do we obtain these fibres? Well, we've got our native softwoods, such as hewn and celery top pine, and beautiful wood it is too, but they're very fussy as to where they will grow, and they only grow very slowly. This hewn pine section, for instance, is over 300 years old, but this radiata pine section is only 17 years old. So as far as economic development is concerned, our native woods are not really suitable. What we need is a fast-growing softwood, which is tolerant to a range of soils and climate, easy to raise in the nursery, and easy to transplant. This is where radiata pine comes in. A 35-year-old stand such as this can produce more than twice as much wood volume as an 80-year-old eucalypt stand on a similar site. Or, to put it another way, in one eucalypt rotation, a radiata plantation can produce 4 times as much wood volume. The majority of areas to be planted are covered with this type of low-quality, extensively cut-over eucalypt forest. Any remaining sawlog and pulpwood is cut, and the debris is burned under controlled conditions. Heaping and cultivation gives better access, better weed control, and better pine growth. These are pine seeds, and this is where it all starts. They are extracted from cones which are picked from specially selected mother trees in the plantation. But more seed is now coming from areas in which all the trees are of this superior type. We call these seed orchards. About 3.5 million seedlings are grown in the Forestry Commission's nurseries at Branksome and here at Perth. The seedlings are nearly 1 year old when they're lifted and bundled for planting. They're planted out in the winter months when the soil is moist and there's less chance of the roots drying out. Many plantation soils are deficient in nutrients. On such areas, hand fertilizing is carried out around each seedling, about 1 or 2 months after planting. In the first few years, the young plantation trees must be looked after carefully, for they represent a 35-year investment. Wallabies and possums can be a problem too. Most of these 4-year-old trees have been chewed by them, and a number of them has died as a result. Over here, these 2-year-olds are being suppressed by this native vegetation. If we don't get rid of this vegetation, these pines won't come to any good. The lower branches soon die underneath a closed canopy, but they don't fall off and are gradually overgrown by the stem. This produces low-quality wood. There is a demand for such wood, but clearwood is obviously a higher-priced product. Clearwood can be obtained by pruning the lower branches from an early age. We plant about 1,400 stems every hectare. That is about 500 per acre. The pines soon begin to compete with each other, and thinning is necessary to keep the best ones growing. This begins at about age 15 and is carried out at intervals of 5 to 8 years. These thinnings produce posts, pulpwood, and of course saw logs. The best growing trees are left to grow on as final crop trees. These, about 200 per hectare, are cut down when they are about 35 years old. Our plantation areas will eventually represent 3 to 4% of the public forest area in Tasmania, but they're expected to contribute 30 to 50% of the total public wood production in the state. Taking the pressure off our native forests begins here in these plantations, with fast-growing radiata pine and good management.